inspire you guys to keep going, and what is it like a day-to-day reality for the working actor?
What is it that keeps us going? For me, I think it's just insanity. I don't know. I think it's just there's something innately in you that, at least for myself, that there is nothing I love to do more. I mean, when the camera's on or the curtain's up, it's, like Michelangelo touching the hand of God. It just feels right. It feels like what I'm supposed to do and what my calling is. And there's the dilemmas in LA where you need to be famous. And being famous doesn't necessarily mean you're an actor. And you can get really lost in a lot of that. It's when you're not working is the hardest thing, and I think having hobbies and interests and having friends that are also not in the business so that you have other things to think about and other ways to expand your mind as opposed to my manager,
That's beautifully put. Part of that, of course, the opposite side would be somebody out there who's got that passion to be driven, to be motivated, to step on bodies along the way.
Yeah.
That's not you, I don't think.
And maybe that's why I'm not Julia Roberts yet, but
You're doing fine.
I'm happy with how I treat other people, and I just don't feel good when I let my managers do the promoting.
You're a
I'll
nice
do the
lady.
acting.
You're a nice lady. And that would also tie in, Robert, a little bit of what we call guidance for young actors out there, because whatever your theory is would be also advice for them, right?
The work is definitely the reward.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done a lot of different jobs to keep it going,
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to swallow your pride a little bit, and just like you can do anything you want to do, it's up to you, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons.
Orson Welles once said, your motivation should be your paycheck on Saturday night, right? and then he would say, lie on the back of your resume.
Yeah.
Don't bump into the furniture, and don't leave your wallet in the dressing room. That's my advice to young actors, right?
It's a struggle, it truly is. People they just know one side of what it is. Like when I first got on the show, on Sopranos, people were coming up to me and saying, hey, so you're going to Disneyland? You're going to California? I said, no, I'm still in debt.
Yeah, paying off the bills,
waiting for
finally.
my first paycheck to come along, It's weird, it's just...
The whole misconception.
There is a kind of misconception. And then there's a misconception of, your responsibility of an actor, which goes back to the times of ancient Greece and who you are and what you stand for.
Storytellers.
And how are we to live, you know what I mean? And you could do it in a big way or small way, but as long as you're giving and you're doing it, that's the important thing. It keeps you going, you know what I mean?
I interviewed Susan Batson, who wrote the book Truth and coaches, and her advice was, don't do it unless you have the passion. And it sounds like you both have that passion, which is why I'm still here. I know what that passion is. So I think that, to me, that's what it's all about, having that passion. And
I don't think they say that enough sometimes. I think that they try to inspire a lot of people, where I think sometimes they should be a little more realistic and let the young actors know what they're in for, because not everyone's cut out for this life, and everyone thinks it's just all about the glamour and the paparazzi and that sort of thing, and it's not.
Yeah. The challenge to being an actor, and especially, in LA I don't know, but in New York, is to keep, once you've got your base, your training, is to keep working. You know what I mean? That's the challenge, because through the experience in TV and film, so like a lot of great actors some good actors came from soap operas. They just, is to continue to work, and the problem is that there is not a lot of work out there, so you have to keep busy.
so how do you do that? How?
Well, you try to do these plays, showcases, and try to keep going, or you take a scene study class and keep going, you know what I mean?
So what
That's
you're
a
saying,
challenge.
as a business of actors, you take the scene class and everything, but it's not always you're getting paid for it. So
Right.
that's the tough thing
Yeah.
about.
That's the balance,
Because with
yeah.
acting, to continue working, you're not always getting paid.
Right.
You're
But it's
given-
like an athlete, though. You have to keep the instrument agile.
Right.
And for actors, and there's only so much you can do standing in your living room. You need to get into class. You need to interact. You need to have dialogue. You can only do monologues for so long, and that's I think for me in LA, that's the difficulty, because there isn't as much theater out there, and so much is about TV work and film work, and So it's a lot of just performing by yourself in front of the camera. And I miss the visceral interaction that comes from theater. And I think that's what keeps you sharp, and that's what keeps you interesting, in my opinion.
That's the biggest challenge, because like in the group theater, even the Steppenwolf, these are people that got together and said, we're going to work doing on our own, or we're going to make a film, you know. David Mamet's very big on that. And go out, if you want to do something, don't wait for people to give it to you. Go out and create it yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's what the group did. Mm-hmm. They went out and they did these plays, and of course Clifford Odets stepped up to the plate, but they had this cocoon. And from that, great things came from. Well, from the circumstances also of the Depression, but it was great theater. They were together, and that's what you got to find. Hopefully you find in the directors that they see something in you, and you can do that. But that's the greatest thing. A lot of people are worried. A lot of actors, I need to get an agent. I need to get these technical things. I need to know. Whereas they don't really experience. Where that's the key to doing it is to experience it. And to act.
Are you still in a working group? I mean, like, not working group, but a scene study group and working on training?
I was taking Meisner out in LA and studying with Martin Barter, who was fantastic, who had studied with Sandy right up until he had passed away. So that was really, really wonderful. Recently, I've just gotten into a sitcom class because I thought, boy, I'm going on all these sitcom auditions and I keep bombing them. Maybe I should take a class. So I was studying with a woman named Sherry Shaw, and I got in there, and about a month after I got in there, I booked something at Laguna Beach Playhouse, and then I booked this in New York, and it's sort of like when I thought, okay, I'm going to try and focus on sitcoms, all the theater work started coming back, which I love. I'm really happy about.
But you both keep refining and rehoning your talents, right?
Yeah, and they're different. I mean, I think, and I'm sure you probably find film acting is different than theater acting.
Yeah, I mean,
the technical parts of it are
technically speaking.
When you see some stars getting awards, you say to yourself sometimes, "I'd like to get that." I was just thinking, I had Louise Reiner on my show. Remember Louise Reiner? She won 2 Academy Awards back to back for The Good Earth and The Great Ziegfeld.
Wow.
And then she couldn't get a job. And Betty Davis even said to me on my show that she won 4 Academy Awards, and then she said she went suddenly from Most Wanted to Help Wanted.
Yeah.
So the Academy Award is not always the sure sign you're going to keep on working, right? So
yeah, I think that's. I mean,
you envy nobody. That's the point.
I think if you look at, it's the moment. I mean, I haven't reached that level,
well,
but I know
you're close. Take my word.
Well, thank you, John. And I mean, but it is true. You have to. I think you really totally have to constantly reinvent yourself.
Right.
And you see those actors who are kind of like reinventing themselves. Guys like I guess like Donald Sutherland, and there's some other actors that out there that are constantly working and trying to new things, and new not only just acting but other things.
I think as actors, you need to do that other stuff to get the little treasures inside.
You need the experience. And if they call you and say, okay, you're this today, now you're this character today, and you need to feel this way, you need to feel this way.
There's a wonderful scene on La Vie en Rose, and if you've seen it, the Edith Piaf thing, and she just got the news that her boyfriend, the person she was seeing, who was married and they're having an affair, whatever, that he had died in a plane crash. And it's a wonderful scene where she goes from this whole crying thing, and she walks through this hallway, and from the hallway she goes right onto the stage, the lights onto the stage, from the room and that really, to me, says a lot about acting and all I think the arts, because it's your life, and it's reflected, and she sang about that. That really is
great scene.
That is, I think, what we do. I mean, we suffer, yet, it's that, not that you want to, but as an actor, and the work, and it is not there all the time. It's what we go through, you know what I mean? And we share. And people, it's like when you read a book, you're not alone, you know what I mean? It's not only you that is going through this, and people recognize that and say, okay, it's all right, I'm going to be okay, and that's cool.
All right, what we're going to do is next week we're going to come back with Joe Franklin, Elyse Myrtle, and Bobbie Furnardo, and they're going to join us with the casting director. So join us next week, same time, Sunday night, 8 p.m. here on Here's Lisa. We'll see you next week. Bye, New York.